Alright, so. Big thing. This is not a reaction. I've already seen this. I saw it as it premiered, and I could tell, based around the analysis, that they were going to make Omni-Man win. They sounded like they were giving him all of these feats that was like, no, 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 and no, and they were like short-dicking Bardock. So, we're just going to be basically pulling up all of these feats that people want to be like, you know, oh, this is correct, and why Omni-Man would absolutely beat Bardock, when in reality, no, Bardock would absolutely shit-stomp Omni-Man, based around the material we've been given. So, we're going to skip around.
To find out who... Omni-Man, Earth's once greatest hero. Alongside the Guardians of the Globe, he protected the world from all manner of threats. And then, in a single day, it all went horribly wrong.
Why, Omni-Man? How, Omni-Man? Who, Omni-Man?
Who indeed? Champion of Earth, best-selling author J.K. Simmons, yet it was all a charade, with his murderous rampage only brought to a halt thanks to his own son.
It all starts with his home planet, Viltrum, which I hear is a totally lovely utopia.
Through brutal mortal combat.
With a K! Or, wait, no, that came later.
Viltrumites are among the most powerful beings in the universe, even more so after they purge the weaker members of their species. As a vanguard of the Viltrumite Empire, Omni-Man infiltrated Earth as Nolan Grayson, expected to prepare the planet for Imperial assimilation.
Which should have been easy, since he's got your classic strongman superpowers and he's basically invulnerable, easily knocking around asteroids the size of Texas.
He can fly at unbelievable speeds, soaring from Earth to the planet Thraxa in under 1 week. Thraxa is, quote, a couple galaxies away, give or take, so a minimum of 2 galaxies. Beyond the Milky Way's neighbor Andromeda is the lesser-known Triangulum Galaxy, which is over 2.7 million light-years away. Reaching it in under 1 week means Omni-Man must have flown over 142 million times faster than light.
Oh, and Viltrumites can't breathe in space, so he held his breath the whole way. And it's not like he was in a rush. He was on a soul-searching trip, contemplating the significance of smashing his own son's face in. Think, Nolan, think.
Yeah, this is why I'm never having kids.
We're in a hurry, flew to Viltrum across the Virgo supercluster in less than 24 hours.
That's over 20 billion times faster than light.
You don't really need to rush anyway. The older a Viltrumite gets, the slower they age.
According to the Invincible Handbook, Nolan is over 2,000 years old. And regardless of age, Viltrumites don't suffer muscle fatigue like humans do, so they rarely ever tire out.
Seriously? He's got parenting easy mode on, and he couldn't even handle that. I would have killed for that back when my daughter was born.
Well, you would have to be a Viltrumite first. A Viltrumite's body contains smart atoms, which they subconsciously manipulate. This cellular structure can effectively recall certain states of being regardless of their present environment.
So, oh yeah, Conquest was the one I was thinking of. But they try using smart atoms as a durability feat, which is absolutely dumb and bullshit, and we're going to give examples on why later.
Reacting to changes at an atomic level to perform the impossible.
Yeah, like surviving your intestines getting ripped out, or even more scary, ripping out your whole beard all at once. Ugh. Only a Viltrumite could pull off something that disturbing.
Nolan is incredibly tough, but if he faces superior forces...
This is an example. They show this. They show War Woman, whatever the hell her name is, smashing him with her hammer. And they try to make it seem like Omni-Man is star levels of durability. Does that mean she is on par with star level? Like, are you kidding me? Is she stronger than Bardock? Like, that, absolutely not.
His smart atoms can adjust to make him even stronger by comparison. This is why Viltrumites are considered...
This was him after a fight with the Globe group, whatever the fuck their name is. I don't remember their name off the top of my head. I'm so frustrated by the stupidity of this video. This is what they did to him. And they're maybe city level. They're not mountain level. They're not state level. They're not continent level. They're basically city level, and they did this to him. And you're telling me Bardock couldn't.
Considered in... Invincible.
Most weapons in the universe can't even scratch a Viltrumite like...
Now, hold on. Let's read this.
Invincible.
Most weapons...
And it's not just about enemies of the Viltrumites. It's about eliminating things that can hurt them. Things that can hurt Viltrumites. My dad is telling me how to beat them. So they say most weapons can't hurt them, but this is an example of them basically being like, these are things that can beat us. This is how we beat those things that can beat us.
Weapons in the universe can't even scratch a Viltrumite.
This is also one they love to go back to, basically saying there's nothing that can hurt Viltrumites. But it says, we now have a list of weapons and beings that can hurt a Viltrumite. Things that will become very valuable to the coalition of planets. They used this as an example of a line that said there's nothing that can hurt Viltrumites. But that doesn't say that. It says, this basically gives a list, this is telling us that there are things that can hurt them.
Viltrumite like him.
Even a ship's cannon like this one can't take down a Viltrumite. And
In what regard? Okay, so I haven't read the Invincible comic in God knows how long. But if they're saying this thing can't kill a Viltrumite, in what regard? Is it that if it hits them, it bounces off them, or it just doesn't do anything to them? Or is it that they're too fast to get hit by this thing? In what regard does this thing not kill a Viltrumite? Because if he's taking damage like this from regular superhumans, this thing absolutely, if it hit him, could kill him. Like, these are on two completely different planes of power. A super strong woman, a speedster, someone who is similar to Omni-Man in the Immortal, who basically just can't die, they all did this to him. Are you telling me they're stronger than this thing? This is where I'm finding it hard to kind of understand this if we're being shown contradictions. Like, this is an absolute, like, beating he took. And he snuck attacked them.
generated a massive solar disk nearly half the size of a star.
Speaking of planets, he's strong enough to shatter one by...
Now listen to this. They make this sound like he did this by himself.
Nearly half the size of a star.
Speaking of planets, he's strong enough to shatter one by flying straight through it. A planet so big it has a whole ring around it.
They never mentioned he had to tag team it, or that the planet had to be destabilized by its core being weakened, basically making the planet itself weaker. They're giving him that feat of, oh, he flew through this planet and destroyed it, and this planet has a ring and it's bigger than the Earth. How about the fact that you show
One by flying...
3 Viltrumites doing this? Omni-Man, Conquest, and Mark. 3 Viltrumites of similar power had to do this. And not only that...
And Thetis tells him to go faster as Mark starts to fall behind and Omni-Man pulls him a little closer. The 3 of them fall towards the planet like a giant burning asteroid as the ray beam pierces the planet's core, and Mark, Thetis, and Nolan all fly right through it, causing eruptions of energy and lava all over planet Viltrum as they exit on the other side and planet Viltrum explodes.
So it was Thetis, my bad. So there, Space Racer helped them survive smashing through the core because the heat would have killed them. He helped them survive smashing through the core because the core was too dense for them. So this is the low end that they were using, the 90.31 yotatons of TNT. That's the low end that they were giving. And this isn't based around one of them. This is all 3 of them. So you need to divide this 90.31 by 3, and you basically get on the low end for what Omni-Man actually is, because that's what they were using. They used the 90.31. So 90.31 divided by 3. He's at 30.1 yotatons. And what did they give Bardock at the end?
Right, Bardock
Doesn't seem like it.
Oh yeah, by the way, that experience doesn't mean jack shit in comparison to the other ones if Bardock is too strong for Omni-Man to even survive. Oh, they gave him 91.14 ronanotons. So what is that? What is ronanotons? Ronatons. Because even if like, the calculation that I'm going to base this off of is them using the 3 Viltrumites and giving it all to Omni-Man, meaning you have to divide this by 3 anyway. So 911.4. Let's divide that. 911.4. That puts him at 303. 303.8. That means at minimum, base Bardock is 2.5 times stronger than Omni-Man. On the minimum low end of, even on the maximum end, they gave him, oh yeah, here he goes, 3.25. On the high end for this planet, for the first interpretation. Like, how did they get to 911.4 Yoda tons when the other things I'm seeing don't even get it to 5? Like, I don't get it. Like, even if we were to bring these down to Yoda tons, he's still 2.5 times weaker than Bardock. Because this is King Vegeta at a power level of 10,000. Meaning that when you take into account... So let's multiply 774.8 by 10. Because that's what the Ozaru transformation is. Whatever is higher than a Ronaton, that's Bardock in the Ozaru form. This gives me 7,448 Ronatons. Meaning that he is now 25 times weaker than Bardock. If we were to go Super Saiyan, if we go Super Saiyan times 50, that's 38,740 Ronatons. Because this King Vegeta, who has a power level of 10,000, Bardock in Super Saiyan has a power level of 500,000. And I don't know if this is a calculation based on Omni-Man alone, or Omni-Man after you've divided Thaddeus and Mark from him. But if this isn't his strength. You have to divide that by 3. Minimum. Like, do you see how disingenuous this is? Like, this is absolutely crazy. His durability isn't that great. If this was enough, she slammed him with this fucking thing, and this is his blood. This is his blood. You can't tell me that she's swinging this thing with more force than Bardock punches. Yes, these aren't full-blooded Viltrumites, and this is probably going to have to be, like, blurred out, but that was what Mark did to another Viltrumite because they were weaker than him. If a Viltrumite punches something that is stronger than them, they basically pop like a balloon. Bardock absolutely would have popped Omni-Man. Like, these feats they're giving him contradict themselves. The panels they're showing show something completely different. Like, what is this? Again, like, the example they give is this thing couldn't kill a Viltrumite. But that doesn't explain whether it couldn't kill them because it wouldn't hurt them or they just couldn't be touched by the blast.
Speaking of planets, he's strong-rounded.
The Roche limit factor dictates the size of celestial...
I don't know who they used as the expert for this death battle, but I wouldn't use him again. Because this is clear bias, and I've seen it before. They've done it with a few others. And it's absolutely infuriating when they do that.
celestial body must be in order to disperse, meaning this one must be much larger.
And don't get me started on how...
Oh yeah, and for anybody that wants to bring up, oh, well, they brought these things up, they're not mentioning that. They don't talk about it. It's basically an afterthought, basically for them to, like, cover their tracks. If they don't mention it in the video, these don't matter. These don't.
Oh, the ring is actually made up of dead bodies because, spoilers? Just go read the comic.
If Roche isn't doing it for you, this planet also supports 5 moons in its orbit, and even the smallest is a perfect sphere, meaning its own gravity shaped it. At minimum, a moon like that must have a diameter of 600 kilometers, or 370 miles. Comparing this to the planet's diameter, we can tell this world is nearly 14 times larger than...
Even if it is 14 times larger than Earth, you have to divide by 3. And what is 14 divided by 3? 4.6. Repeating. Meaning that even if he could destroy 4 and more than a half of another Earth by himself, which He probably couldn't, because you have to take into account that, again, the core was weak. They needed a major calculation. They had to hit it at the precise angle, at the precise moment, together to punch through it. Otherwise, they would have died. That was stated. So this took a lot of factors. So even if he could destroy maybe 4 Earths, that's 1 more Earth in comparison to Bardock. 1 more in base. Meaning that it wouldn't take much more for Bardock to become stronger than him. Ozaru would be overkill. It would be. The second Bardock got his hands on Omni-Man, squeeze, pop. Just dead. The instant Omni-Man throws a punch at him, crunch, his fist breaks. But no, for some reason, Bardock's arm breaks. In Super Saiyan. Are you telling me that Omni-Man, for some reason, is on par with first form Frieza? Bardock is 30,000 power levels lower than Frieza in first form, which is about 6% weaker. Are you telling me that Omni-Man rivals first form Frieza? Because he's in Super Saiyan right now. He has the capability to destroy more planets than he can at his absolute maximum. That is why I am calling this out. Their feats contradict it. Their showings contradict it. But they stand by this. This shit pisses me off. There are tons of videos on YouTube. 2 years ago, Saiyans versus Viltrumites. 4 months ago, why Saiyans versus Viltrumites isn't even close. Could Frieza invade them? Absolutely. Could Invincible stop the Saiyans? 9 months ago. No, he couldn't. Saiyans versus Viltrumites. 7 months ago. All-out war. Could Goku stop a Viltrumite invasion? And they were only going to use Goku probably from the Saiyan saga. Saiyans versus Viltrumites. 5 months ago. Pretty much every single one of these videos basically points out how a Viltrumite is nothing compared to a Saiyan. And for some reason, everybody is going to take what Death Battle said and be like, oh, because Death Battle said it, now for some reason the Viltrumites are better. And they gave him the edge in the stupidest shit. They flipped it. They gave Bardock speed and Omni-Man strength. When in reality, Bardock was far stronger and Omni-Man was far faster. But that speed didn't mean nothing if he was going to hit Bardock and basically just end up like... This is what would happen if Omni-Man ran into Bardock. But imagine Omni-Man is the giant balloon of blood. And Bardock is the one standing there coated in it. That's what would happen if Omni-Man flew into Bardock, because Bardock is well over the strength to kill Omni-Man. Like, I don't understand their reasoning or why they thought this was what it was when it's not. Like, it's not that hard. And everybody who's trying to make it seem like, oh, well, Death Battle had a point. No, they didn't. They had contradictions and lies. They had feats that could be disputed based on what we were being shown. This scene right here disproves a lot of their fucking arguments, because if superhumans were able to do this to him, Bardock would have done way more. Like, that's just all I'm going to say about that. Because if this is the way Death Battle is going to go, when they should absolutely have way more people behind them, giving them information, if they can actively go through YouTube and be given evidence by tons of other YouTubers who have posted this content months and years in advance, they should absolutely not be screwing this up. They have all the stuff they need in these videos. These people aren't trying to glaze Dragon Ball. They're pointing out facts and stuff that we see with the actual show and the comic between both these series. A Viltrumite cannot beat Bardock. Even as a low-class warrior, he rivaled the king of the planets, who could wave his hand and destroy 3 planets. Absolutely disgraceful. Alright, well, that's going to do it for this video.